Okay. Hi, I'm Dr. Ben Newman. I'm a molecular biologist who studies coronaviruses. And let's try to answer your questions. The next question is from MK. All right. It's a lively one. All right. Let's see. Happy birthday to both. Thanks very much. I would like your opinion on this regarding vitamin D. Yeah, okay. All right. Let's go, vitamin D. Yeah. Should we be getting a bit more sun? Maybe boosting our vitamin D intake? Probably, sure. Yeah. It probably doesn't hurt. And if you are low, if you're below recommended levels on any of these vitamins, there can be effects. And the effects can be kind of large and kind of weird. And I would say you don't want anybody to be deficient in any particular vitamins. Yeah, they all have a good function, a good purpose. So this is a paper in PLOS ONE, which is a nice open access journal that publishes. They're not looking for a specific kind of science. Like Journal of Virology, it's got to be about a virus and written in a particular kind of way. They are looking for good science, whatever the heck it is. And so you will see papers about the neatest new fossils right alongside new chemistry, right alongside infectious disease stuff in this journal, PLOS ONE. It's kind of a neat place, like all of science. um, so the paper is linked there. It's SARS-CoV-2 positivity rates associated with circulating 25 hydroxyvitamin D levels. Yeah, or hydroxyvitamin D if we are in England. Okay, and so the gist of it is that in their population, they had people who tested positive or did not test positive for SARS-CoV-2. But these are people that went and sought out a test, I think. So they are not random samples of the population. They're people that thought they might be sick or exposed. And then they were tested. The tests that were done here are the standard nucleic acid tests. So these are equivalent to the N1 and N2 test that we do in America. I'm not sure if this is American or like a European paper, but the tests are, for all intents and purposes, functionally identical. So yeah, they test for the same thing. Let's see. And then it goes back and they measure vitamin D levels in some of those same people, and I'm assuming it's at the same time. They've got one that's a mass spec version by the look of it, and another that is an ELISA version, which would be expensive, but maybe something that's being routinely done in hospital as part of other care for these people. So I don't know. And so they're putting these data together and coming to a conclusion that maybe we need more vitamin D. And yeah, okay, maybe we do. Yeah. This is something that's come out kind of since the beginning of SARS-CoV-2. Now, the caveats for interpreting a study like this, because I think there are some. One, it's not a randomized placebo-controlled study where you take people and you either give them or don't give them vitamin D and then look at the outcome. It is retrospective. So we're going back and trying to figure out what happened in the past, and there were lots of variables that we maybe can't control for and maybe can't even access now. You know, what did they eat on a certain day? I don't know what I ate last week. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I ate for breakfast today. I can just remember that, but any further back than that, and it's a mystery. Yeah. So there will be some uncontrolled variables in these retrospectives, which kind of makes them hard to interpret sometimes. But they're trying to point out a possible association. And yeah, to that extent, I say, yeah, that's fine. That's within the realm of what we can call good science. So for the average person, yeah, you may be low in vitamin D. It would be expensive to actually test, but if you were to eat foods that are vitamin D enriched, then that should get you over the line, and maybe get a little sun every once in a while to convert that into this particular form of vitamin D. That's all right. That's good science. On the other side, vitamin D has been brought up since the beginning as a way of explaining why in early COVID in areas like Chicago, if I remember right, the virus was really hitting Black Americans harder than other ethnic groups. And it's since been worked out that in larger studies, the virus has been infecting pretty much everybody of every ethnicity about equally, and the death rates are not particularly different. Um, it's one of those things where the problem was probably something to do with economics, opportunity, like where you live and how good your nearest hospital is and whether they're likely to believe you. Things we can lump together and call systemic racism, perhaps. And so those would definitely make differences, and they make differences to different communities. Basically make things worse, make people die at higher rates from more minor diseases all the time. So that is one possible explanation. The other explanation is that, oh, these are people and they should have a little more vitamin D. And I would love it if there were a pill that took away all the possible side effects of all of the cultural nonsense that is out there. I don't think that pill exists, and I doubt that it's vitamin D. I think that's probably a smaller factor that's next to a bigger factor, and they're both going in the same direction. These are both things that can potentially lead to more severe disease, but yeah, I would think that the vitamin D aspect is it's possible, but it would not be my first instinct. I don't think the evidence is as strong. And so in this paper, one thing that they do is they divide people neatly in half. So what you should see, if it's definitely vitamin D related, is that the lower your vitamin D level, the higher your rate of virus, basically. And let's see, they've got a little graph here. And they are showing, yeah, something similar to that. So that is possible up to a level, although there's a fair bit of noise in that data as well. But boy, all these things sometimes get mixed together, and it's easy to pick out one factor and assume that is the key that's actually driving the entire response, when it could be a couple of different things. So I would just say take vitamin D. It's not going to hurt you. Yeah, and get a little sunshine. It'll probably make you feel better. But these may not be all that's going on here. I think it's probably part of something that's a little bit larger and can't be cured with a vitamin pill. That would be what I suspect. But here we're on the edge where molecular biology stops and goes on into all kinds of other subjects that I am not expert enough in to actually give any kind of reasonably informed commentary. So I would say that from what I've read, that seems to be the most likely explanation in my mind, is that it's something larger than vitamin D. But the vitamin D can probably have an effect. And it's right there in the numbers in this paper. So there you go. Take it with a grain of salt, or maybe a pill of vitamin D. Yeah. Thanks very much. This has been Ask Dr. Ben.